Did you really think this vlog was gonna start any other way? Welcome to David's favorite subject, breastfeeding. Breastfeeding, the joys, the pains. Yeah, the pains. That's why he has biltong in his hand. Biltong is dried meat because he's busy teething at the moment. Happy 5 months! So breastfeeding has become a different ball game altogether. Breastfeeding, such a idealistic subject. Welcome back to Baby Bump Vlog. If you're not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date for if and when I actually vlog. It's not really something that's happening all too often these days because I'm trying to look a bit kept. But I decided, you know what? This is Baby Bump Vlog. This is real. This is motherhood. So I'ma just vlog no matter what I look like. And you guys are welcome. So breastfeeding. Why did I decide to start breastfeeding? First and foremost, it has been one of the best choices I ever made in life. When it came to Victor, when it comes to David, although there are many differences this time around. Firstly, my entire situation is different this time around. With Victor, by this age, he had already been weaned and he'd already been placed on formula. Whereas David will not have anything else. We took him to a baby clinic and we're like, you know, mommy just wants to partially wean because she's looking for a job, even a half-day job, whatever, and she'd like to feed him during the evenings. Why am I speaking about myself in the third person? I don't know, guys. It might be because I only started taking vitamins this week and I've been breastfeeding all this time. That's probably why I look like the undead, like a zombie apocalypse, because I have not been taking any supplements whatsoever. Anywhoosie, so we took him to the baby clinic and she was like, yes, just use this milk, use that. By that time, we'd already used 2 different kinds of milk. She's like, use this milk and then you buy this bottle. He has 5 different kinds of bottles now. The base brands from the most expensive to literally the cheapest. And he will not have any of it. So then she's like, okay, yeah, and you also need to feed him because he's constantly on the teat. So he's eating 3 times a day now and still teat boy. It's something I love, but yes, this is where I'm at right now. I chose it because from a biological standpoint, I really love the idea of a mammal giving birth to and nurturing their offspring. I know. You subscribe to this when you subscribe to Baby Bump Vlogs, so welcome. It's just a thing. I love that. I love him looking me in the eye when he feeds, although he's taken it to a next level where if I don't actually lock eyes with him, he bites and pulls. It's a whole thing that he does now. I love that it really is so nutritious and good for your baby because your body is transmitting so much of your antibodies and nutrients to your baby. So I love that, especially during the first few days and weeks after giving birth. But then with the second time around, there were other considerations as well. Like, it definitely made financial sense. It was, financially speaking, the best option as well. Logistically speaking, it was a great option because you don't have to wake up during the evening, prep bottles, etc. It's just oop. But another consideration, Eskom. Yes, Eskom, our electricity supplier here in South Africa, they just have load shedding whenever. So that was also a consideration, is like, am I going to be able to prep bottles when Eskom decides to do a whole load shedding thing, especially 12 o'clock at night? So those were my main considerations in breastfeeding. And it's been a real journey. You guys can see he has his little pacifier here. But this is something that is only really used the last maybe month, and not always. He literally still uses my breast as a pacifier. It's his go-to. And this breastfeeding journey has been amazing. It's also been hectic. Like when I got home from the hospital, I got milk fever. And I don't remember having it the first time around. And I contacted my mom. I'm like, what am I going to do? The internet says this and that. And we contacted my aunt. She's a nurse. And she's like, get cabbage leaves. Da, da, da. I was like, okay. So what I actually did was I went to the shower and I put it on like steaming hot. And we have like a bath shower thing. So I lay in the bath with this shower thing just like dripping onto me, and I try to express milk in the bath. It was fantastic. And that really helped, but that was something real because my one breast was overproducing and the other one was almost like damaged in a way, like it didn't really produce that much. So starting at the beginning, what was different this time around was that I had an emergency C-section. So David wasn't born and put on the breast directly. He was born by emergency C-section and they took him away. I only saw him like an hour and a half later. So when the nurse came an hour and a half later, they'd already given him some formula to bring up his glucose level. And they did help me. I mean, I was lying there, you're not allowed to mobilize in the first few hours after a C-section. So they helped me to latch, and so he was just lying basically like this here. I don't remember much, the pain was excruciating. But he latched and things were going well. The hell started a few hours later when the pain kicked in, because if you guys go back to one of my previous vlogs, which is his birth story, you'll realize that they obviously only give you Panado for pain, so it's, you're feeling the pain. And it was so hectic getting up and feeding him, because by that time they'd put in him in like a little crib, so next to my bed. So that pain was so hectic. The first 3 days was a spiritual journey in and of itself for me to mentally get through the pain. And I know people might be like, you'll do anything. Yes, you do anything for your baby, because love is sacrifice. Just speaking on the reals, it was super painful. And the first people to help me with my milk supply coming in obviously was my body's actual ability to produce milk, yay. And then also they gave me like a tablet in the hospital to help me with milk production. But I also have this trick that I use that I got from one of the nurses at the baby clinic I've mentioned, and she calls it jungle juice. So jungle juice is awesome. It increases milk supply. What it is it's berry elixir mixed with either water and apple juice, or in my case, I used like a South African tea called rooibos tea. And you mix that with a homeopathic relaxant called Rescue Remedy. And you drink that stuff and you keep your water supply, your actual water supply, drinking water, on a consistent, and your milk supply is good to go. Coming back home, my milk supply had come in, and that's when the mastitis happened. And because of the C-section being that your muscles are cut apart, and for those following my story, you know that I broke 8 vertebrae in my back. It was just super painful to hold him like the Hulk. So I used to put a pillow here and just lean forward and breastfeed him like that. But I also got in a really bad habit, which was to nurse him lying on my side and having him lie on his side. And although that is super convenient and bonding and nice for evening feedings, I kind of got in the habit to do it whenever he wanted to feed. And why I'm saying it's a bad habit is because when we went to the baby specialist, the baby clinic, she was like, I can see he has a preference. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you have to start letting him lie on the other side as well, because the one side of his head looks different than the other side. And I was like, is that gonna come right? I was like, that's why you get people with these weird shaped heads, I guess. I don't know. My cone head baby. That's a joke. So that's the one reason. Also, I think in the beginning, before he really got a hold of the latching, no pun intended, that was just not the right fit, again, no pun intended, for him. And I really had to work on finding the correct way for him to latch. And I really don't remember it being this difficult with my first pregnancy or child. It was just so weird, like I couldn't get him to latch correctly. And so we always had burps. And later I realized when you feel this pulling and tugging, that's when he's latching correctly. And you know, he has to have his mouth level to your nipple. His head shouldn't be tilted back. His mouth should be around the entire areola and not just the nipple part. So with all these things, I realized that, okay, he's not latching correctly. And that took a lot of patience. That's definitely another tip I can give, is patience is a virtue, because if you're not patient, probably you're gonna lose interest in wanting to get your baby to latch correctly. And that's gonna make you freak out and stress, and we'll know that stress is bad on a good day, but what's it with all these things? Why am I talking like this? We all know that stress is generally bad, but it really is bad when you're breastfeeding, because it definitely has an effect on your milk supply. So you don't want to stress yourself or your baby out. You just want to take it easy, you want to relax, you want to be patient, and try to get your baby to latch correctly. A while back I was really worried because David would not drink for hours, and then when he had a bit of milk, it would be for like an hour or hour and a half. And they say your baby should be drinking every 3 to 4 hours, this amount. And so I was really worried, and just asking around, Googling, I realized that that happens when your baby goes through a developmental stage. And so that gave me so much reassurance. Also, if you don't know if your baby is getting enough breast milk, if your baby has 5 to 6 wet diapers a day, you can be assured your baby is getting enough. Also, don't be scared to just consult with a lactation specialist. That is definitely something that gave me a lot of assurance, is just speaking to the nurses whenever he went for a checkup, checking his weight gain, they check his color, etc. You know, they have a growth chart, so they measure his length against his weight, etc. Another thing, if your nipples are painful, a really cool tip is to let breast milk dry on your nipple. Great home remedy, and it really helps with the pain and inflammation. Thank you to everyone in my life that made it possible for me to have the most nutritious diet possible, because that was super important for me. And apart from a few items that I changed in my diet pretty much stayed the same. I read up that mommies from different cultures eat what they culturally eat, and their babies adapt to that and actually start having a taste for that when they grow up. So the only real items that I changed whilst breastfeeding was I lessened my chili intake. I mean, I have a spicy meal a day. That's the kind of girl I am. But I probably haven't had more than like 7, maximum 7 spicy meals in 5 months and 1 week that he's been here. I definitely stopped eating onion. I lessened my green veggies, and I lessened my garlic intake. And those were pretty much it. So this has been a breastfeeding journey. It feels like I'm leaving stuff out. This video has gone on too long, so I'm gonna stop it right now. But I feel like if I think of other things I can share that will be helpful to you, I'm gonna make a second breastfeeding video, because it's just such a beautiful experience, and there's so much to say about breastfeeding and so much that I could say that could be of help to you. So check out, perhaps there'll be another video. That being said, David will not partially wean. It's not happening, guys. He loves Mama Titi. Like he, look at what he's doing. It's so cute. And shame, he's teething now. So it's pretty intense, and you guys can see he's fussy, so he probably wants to drink. That's another tip for you guys. You'll know when your baby wants to feed. Try to feed on demand. Your breasts will produce enough milk. As for the breast pump I bought, I cannot recommend it. I'm still not sure why it doesn't work, because with Victor I had an electronic tummy tippy pump and that worked great. And this time around I have a tummy tippy hand pump, and sometimes literally no milk is coming out of my breasts. And I've tried different ways of trying to make this thing work, but it doesn't. So the pump was an absolute waste of money for me, and whenever I've had to express, I've done so in the super old school way. And so yes, this is it. And remember, ladies, don't let anyone tell you what your breastfeeding journey should be like, or shame you, or be like, oh, breastfeeding is gross, or do it in the bathroom. Will you tell somebody, listen, I don't want you to eat in front of me because you disgust me, go eat in the bathroom? No, this is your baby. Enjoy your journey, and God bless.